Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade and today's video is all about how you can open your boutique with no stock. The industry's best kept secret. I don't even know if it's a secret, but I didn't know much about this before I started my boutique. So I figured, you know what? Other people won't know and they need to know because it is a lifesaver. Times are hard. And I know that there's so many people out there who really want to start their boutique or even keep their boutique running, but they haven't, or they feel like they can't because they feel like they need to invest loads of money in stock. And I'm here to tell you that you don't need to do that. And this is the methods that I use to avoid purchasing loads of stock, hoarding loads of stock in my little one-bed London flat. And I'm hoping that by me sharing this information with you, it's going to really help you to start your boutique, or I don't know, relaunch your boutique or keep your boutique running, whatever it is. I'm really hoping it's going to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. So let's get straight into the good stuff. Sorry, I know I said let's get straight into the good stuff. But if you have a keen eagle eye, then you might be thinking, Jade, wasn't you just wearing that outfit in your last video? Yes, I was. I've made the decision that I'm no longer pretend that I don't film 2 videos in one go. Like I do. It's called batch content creation, which I've just filmed a video on, ironically. And I'm just like not going to pretend and keep on changing outfits just so that you guys think that it's a different day. You know the guys don't care if I film 2 videos at once, right? You just care if it's like good content. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about how exactly you can start your boutique or run your boutique without having to purchase loads of stock in advance. How you do this is by using pre-order systems. And there are a few different pre-order systems that's out there. I should flag that I use Shopify for both of my stores. I have 2 online boutiques in case you've just met me for the first time. One's called Rayo London, one's called Lilo London. I use Shopify for both of those. I 100% recommend using Shopify. I swear by it. It is the easiest, most effective platform, in my opinion, to use when it comes to e-commerce. So I use Shopify, and therefore the apps that I'll be talking about in this video will be in relation to Shopify. So big disclaimer there. So as I mentioned, the way that I managed to achieve running my boutiques without holding onto too much stock is by using a pre-order system. The pre-order system that I currently use is called CAD Pre-Order, but there are a bunch of different apps out there. I've actually used quite a few in the past, and they all work similarly, and they all work just as well as each other. What these systems basically are is they're apps, so they're third-party apps that you install onto your Shopify site. I'll do a little demo here of how you can install one. And the reason why installing these are so useful is because it basically allows you to have a pre-order option on your website. So if you go onto one of my sites now, you'll see that on certain items, there isn't an add to cart button. Instead, there's a pre-order button. And when you hover over the pre-order button, it will come up with a message which will say something along the lines of pre-order lead times are 10 to 18 days, right? So what this means is that when a customer lands on my site and they go on a certain item which I don't have in stock, they can pre-order that item. I will receive the money from that sale, and I'll use that money to then purchase their item from my supplier. So that means that I've got minimum risk from my side, and it also means that I can have a bunch of items on my website which I don't actually currently have in stock. So let me take you through all the steps that you need to follow in order to get this up and running. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to select your stock. So you might have already done this process, I'm not quite sure, but if you haven't, then I 100% recommend checking out Alibaba.com. Alibaba.com is a world-leading global B2B trading marketplace. What that basically means is that you can find exactly what you're looking for from more than 100,000 different suppliers in over 40 different categories. So it doesn't actually matter if you're starting a boutique or an online store or whatever. It also doesn't matter what type of items you're selling on your boutique or your online store. I'm pretty confident that you're going to be able to find suppliers for that type of item from Alibaba.com. Alibaba.com is also a really great place to get started with your online store, and that's because it's such a big marketplace. So it's not just like you're going to one supplier and hoping that they have all the items that you need and you like for your store. Instead, you're going to this huge global marketplace who have a bunch of suppliers, so you're far more likely to find a variety of items that you want to sell in your store that you like, that are good quality and that are going to work for your audience. So Alibaba.com has loads of different verified suppliers who all sell amazing quality items at a really good price. And they also have the ability for you to purchase samples from each of your items, which is such an important part of this whole pre-order process. You want to make sure that anything that you are putting on pre-order, you have already purchased once for yourself, so you can test the quality of the item before you put it on pre-order for someone else. I can't stress this step enough. So what I recommend you do is head to Alibaba.com, browse all of the different items and find ones which you think are suitable for your boutique. Check out the reviews and check out all the different photos that all the suppliers upload on the site. And then I recommend purchasing a sample from Alibaba.com and from the various suppliers, waiting for that sample to arrive and then checking that you're happy with it. Is it the right size? Do you want to buy different colors? Like how do you feel about the product? And then once you've gotten to the space where you're really happy with the product, then it's time to move on to the next step. Also, last comment on Alibaba.com, they also offer trade assurance, which will help protect your orders. So that's just another added level of security, another good reason to check out Alibaba.com as a marketplace when you are starting your boutique. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. The next thing you want to do to set up your pre-order is to check the shipping times for the products that you're purchasing. So for example, on Alibaba.com, the supplier will either clearly state how long the shipping will take. It also sometimes says like ready to dispatch, which is really useful. In other occasions, it might say something like shipping to be negotiated. So I always recommend checking out how long the shipping will take. And the reason why this is so important is because you need to factor this into your pre-order setup. So as I mentioned before, when you go on my website and you see the pre-order button, it will tell you how long the lead time is for pre-ordered items. You'll also see additional information on the pre-order dispatch times on the description for each of my products, right? This is super important because whilst a customer is pre-ordering an item and therefore there's an understanding that they know that it's going to take longer for the item to arrive, they still need to have some kind of idea of how long it's going to take. I see a lot of websites and boutiques and stores fall down on this because they'll just kind of say like pre-order and then it will take like 4 months for the bag to arrive, and the customer thought in their head they thought it will take longer but only maybe 2 weeks longer. So then you end up getting a disgruntled customer, negative feedback, and a huge amount of emails and back and forth, and that's what you want to avoid. So always make sure you know how long on average your item will take to be shipped to you before you set up your pre-order. Okay, so let's talk about how you actually set up your pre-order. So this is going to be different depending on the app that you use, but as I mentioned, the app that I use for Rare London is CAD Pre-Order, but there are loads on Shopify. I'll put links to them below, which all do similar things and they all kind of work as well as each other. So basically you want to head to the app once it's been installed and you want to head to the product section, right? This is currently filtered by the products which have pre-order enabled. It is worth noting that I don't have pre-order enabled on all of my items because I do regular checks with my suppliers to make sure that they have my item in stock. So for example, if you've purchased via Alibaba and you go back onto the marketplace to check whether the item that you purchased a while ago is still in stock and you see that it's not in stock, then you need to go onto your pre-order system and remove it from pre-order, because you don't want to give your customers the ability to pre-order an item which can't actually be pre-ordered because the supplier doesn't sell it anymore. That's another trap that I see people falling into quite often. You need to regularly review the stock levels of your items to make sure that someone can actually pre-order it and it can still get delivered and fulfilled. So I therefore don't have pre-order enabled on all of my items. I only have it enabled for items which I know my supplier currently has in stock. I also do have several items. I would say maybe 80% of my store does actually have items in stock. I don't only sell items via pre-order, but when I first started this store, that wasn't the case because I didn't have a lot of money to invest. So whilst I sampled all of my items, every single one of them were only available on pre-order. And what I basically did was after some time, I began to use the money that I was making to stock up on some of the items which were selling a lot quicker so that I could fulfill some orders quicker than others, right? That's another strategy that I recommend that you guys do. But if you're just starting out and you want to put them all on pre-order, then do it, because I did that and it worked perfectly fine. So if we look at the patch bag, I love this bag. I currently don't have any in stock. The reason for this is that patch is a new item and I like to use the pre-order feature to test out new items because it's just a good way of figuring out what the demand is. You know, if you launch a new item and you suddenly get 5 pre-orders in a day, then you know that you should probably actually stock up on it because it's going to be really popular. So as you can see, when I click on here, it comes up with another bit on the side and it basically says that the pre-order option is active. I've got a quantity limit of 10. The button text, so this is literally the button that you would have seen before on my product page. It says pre-order, and then when you hover over it, so this is called the tooltip, it says pre-ordered items can carry a lead time of 10 to 18 days, and you can also schedule your pre-ordered items to start. So as I mentioned before, it's just really important that your pre-order system, whatever you use, clearly states that the item that the customer is buying is being purchased on pre-order and therefore it's going to take longer to be delivered. So this is the setup that I use on the back end of my pre-order system. You might want to use one what's a bit different. It's completely up to you. The next step I want to talk about is actually how you manage receiving your stock from your pre-orders. This was something that I had to learn the hard way because I was doing so many pre-ordered items in the past and I was using Excel to track how many pieces of stock I was buying, how many I had in stock, and therefore that system allowed me to figure out if I needed to purchase another bag as a result of getting an order, or if I already had enough stock coming in. Because don't underestimate how complicated it can get, especially when you start to get quite a few orders. Like, things can get really complicated, and what you don't want to do is be in a position where someone's pre-ordered a bag and you don't order it from your supplier because you think you've already got enough stock coming in. You wait 3 weeks, the stock comes and it's not enough for you to fulfill that order, and then you probably have to refund them, or you end up having to do something and you've got a disgruntled customer. So you want to make sure you're being really, really organized. And one thing that I discovered, albeit later than I would have liked to discovered, but I discovered it anyway, was Shopify transfers. What these basically are a way to log when you've got incoming stock. So basically you head to products and then you click on the transfers button, head to add transfer, and then search for a product. So I'm going to search for patch because that's one we were just looking at. Let's search for patch in green. Let's add this to transfer. So I'm going to pretend, right, that someone's just ordered one patch bag. I've received that order and I thought, okay, I'm going to use the money you've just spent on that patch bag to order 2 so that you get your bag when it comes in stock. And then I also have 1 spare bag in stock to use in case someone else purchases it. So I'm going to say I've got 2 coming in. I've ordered it from my supplier and I've checked the delivery times on Alibaba and they're due to come in 2 weeks, right? So I'm going to say 2 weeks time, 16th of May. My tracking number, I've got my tracking number from my shipment. It's this. Obviously it's not going to be that. And I'm going to just add it, right? Reference number if you want to use, tag if you want to use. There's those different options that you can do here. Origin, you can even put what supplier you bought it from. I'm going to save it as that for now. And as you see, it's basically created a log for you. It's basically saying, hey, you've got 2 patch bags coming in. It's going to be delivered on this day and it's going to be shipped by DHL, right? What this means is that when you go to managing your inventory on Shopify, by the way, if you don't know how to use Shopify, or I'm showing you loads of stuff you've not seen before and you want a tutorial, let me know because I'd be happy to make one. So if you want to go to, you're managing your inventory on Shopify, right? So you go to products and then you click on inventory. If I search patch, right, you'll see under the incoming section, it now says 2. So there's still no patch bags in stock, but 2 of them are coming in. So that basically just helps you when it comes to your management of your stock. And when it comes to receiving orders for things which are on pre-order, instead of having to keep an Excel sheet and it getting really messy, you can just check your inventory on Shopify and it will tell you if you have enough stock to fulfill that order coming in or whether you need to order more. It's also worth noting that when your orders have come in, if you head back to the transfer section, if you click on the one that you just created, and you can click on the received items button and it will basically take you to the screen which will allow you to update your inventory so that it now says that you have 2 received. And if you've had one on pre-order, what that will basically mean is that Shopify will say, okay, I know that someone ordered one of these when you didn't have one in stock. You now have 2 in stock. So I'm going to update the back end so that it says that you have 1 in stock, right? Because you've got 2 coming in. One of them was already allocated to someone who's already ordered one, and the other one is now available stock. So Shopify is smart and it will do all of that for you and it will tell you that. So it just makes the whole process so much easier. I'm not going to click save because I don't have 2 patch bags coming in and I'm going to really confuse myself later and it's going to mess up my inventory. But that's basically how I use a pre-order app and how I use Shopify transfer to avoid holding any stock or very little stock in my tiny 1-bed flat. Because let's face it, guys, we don't live in warehouses, okay? We don't have the room. My boyfriend would kill me if I just started ordering loads of stock and just hoarding it in our flat. And if you're in the same situation as I am, which I'm sure loads of you are, I really feel like this whole system is gonna be really, really useful to you. So I hope that was really useful to you. If you're interested in this kind of stuff and you're thinking about opening your own online store, then I 100% recommend checking out this video. It will give you all my tips and strategies and best practices to starting your online store with little to no money in 2021. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.